your daughter out like that? I met this girl at this little park gathering that my homies threw. You know, my homie had a girl and she bought her friend and she introduced us to each other. We hit it off just like that. And I thought she looked it good and everything. I was like, man, we were hitting off with talking and everything. I was like, man, this is cool and everything. We started dating and started getting along with each other and having a good time. And, we were feeling each other. Over time, 6 months passed. Eventually, we start going out and being in a relationship, just trying to make things work, I didn't have no money. She didn't have no money. We had a little bit of money. I got some money from my mom for some housework, but not too much, But we were getting along with each other. We had a good time. I remember I used to taking her to Jack in the Box and Burger King and stuff. And she was like, I want to go to Denny's. And I was like, Denny's costs a lot of money. That I was thinking in my head, but I was like, okay, I have to go ahead and take her. So I took her to Denny's and she got some eggs and a steak. And I was like, oh my God, it came up to like $17. And I'm used to $1, dollar Jumbo Jack, dollar Whopper, I'm just like, it shouldn't be that much, but it was my girlfriend and stuff like that. But we started hitting it off and we were really in a relationship for about a year, doing our thing and getting to know each other, having fun. But I heard she told me her mother about me and everything, and that was cool, And eventually I went to her house and I see that she lived in a small apartment, her and her mom and stuff like that. And she had to get some stuff to come with me because we had to go somewhere or something like that. She had to get some clothes or something like that. And to go, get some shorts to go swimming. So we did that and we went swimming and we had fun for quite a while, just having a good time. And then there was a time I went back to her house and her mom was standing there and she had this man standing there and she was like, daughter, and the daughter was like, what, mom? She was like, I know you've been here for a long time and, you're 18 years old now and I have a boyfriend and he wants to move in with me. And she was like, okay, so, and I was standing there and she was like, no, he wants to move in with us and it's time for you to leave and go move on. And I was thinking to myself, like, what? Like, what? And she was like, are you sure, Mom? She was like, yeah, you're 18. It's time for you to move on and do some other things because I'm about to move my boyfriend in 2 weeks. And her mom was like, she was like, yeah. And the daughter was like, what? Are you going to do this to me, Mom? And I was just like standing there like surprised, like, and I was looking at her and she was like, Mom, forget you. And I seen her, she slammed the door and I looked behind. I was like, what the hell? And I was looking at her mom. I was like thinking to myself, that's fucked up. Like, you just gonna throw your daughter out like that? That's what I was thinking. And I was saying to myself, like, it's really not none of my business, I'm 18 and she's 18, but that's her mom's rules, And I was sitting there like, that's fucked up in my mind. I was like, damn, that's cold-blooded. And then I went outside and she was crying in my car. And she was like, LaDon, I don't know what to do and where I need to go and stuff. And I got my stuff with me and, and I was like, what about your things and stuff? She was like, I'll come get that tomorrow, but my mama's tripping. And I was like, wow, like I was sitting in the car for quite a while. And she was like, just take me to my friend's house. So I dropped her off at a friend's house and I went into my house and I was just thinking like, damn, her mother just kicked her out like that. She ain't got no job or nothing. Like, and I was 18 to myself and I was saying to myself, man, I hope my family don't kick me out. I'm 18 now, you know, but I was sitting there feeling bad for her. So the next day she called me to come pick her up. So I went to go pick her up, and we were talking and hanging out for quite a while and stuff like that. And one day she was staying with her homegirl, and I seen something that they were on. I was like, "What is that?" She was like, "It's speed, LaDon." I'm like, You're doing speed now?" She's like, "Yeah. My mama kicked me out, and I just don't know what to do." And I was like, "But you don't need to do no speed." She was like, "So, and what's wrong with me doing speed?" And I was like, "I mean, it's gonna mess up your life. You're doing drugs." And she was like, "So?" And she was taking her drugs and sitting there taking the speed. And I was sitting there like, okay, saying it to myself. But over the time, it just got worse and got worse. And she was staying up for days. And I was just like, well, what time is it? She's like, "I'm still up. It's 4 o'clock in the morning." I was like, "You ain't sleep?" She's like, "No, I don't go to sleep on speed." I was like, damn, I can't deal with this. And my family told me to stay away from people that do drugs. So I was just like, "I gotta let you go." She was like, "You just gonna leave me because I'm doing a little speed?" I was like, "You ain't gonna get off of it." She was like, "So, but I'm still gonna stay on it. And you can go ahead and leave." And I was like, fuck it. And I straight up left. I went on with my life, and I just said, forget it, She never called me. I never called her. So fast forward, 10 years happened. I'm living in LA now. I used to live in a small desert, and I moved to LA, and I came up there because something was wrong with my car at AutoZone. And I was in AutoZone, and I came out, and she was standing right there. And I was like, "Who are you?" She was like, "Don." I was like, "Janet?" She was like, "Yeah, it's Janet." And I was like, "What's up?" She's like, "Nothing. What you been doing?" I said, "I'm just up here visiting from LA, going over to my friend's house." She's like, "Do you want to hang out and just kick it?" And I was like, "If you're not on drugs." She's like, "I'm not on drugs no more." And I was like, "Okay, And I let her come over to my friend's house. We were talking and we were laughing and everything. And she was like, do you still have feelings for me?" I was like, "No, I've been thinking about you, and it's been 10 years. She's like, "You haven't been thinking about me since when you left?" I said, "When I left, I thought about you for about a month, but I moved the hell on." She's like, "But you still didn't think about me after them years and stuff?" I'm like, "No." She was like, "That's cold-blooded, Don." I was like, "What I do? I mean, you've been gone." She was like, "But you don't even think about me no more. I think about you." And then I was like, she was like, just let me get my shit out your car and let me just go." So I went to go give her my keys to the car, and she went in the car, and she was like, "You never thought about me?" And I was like, "No, I ain't been thinking about you one bit." And she took my key, and she said, "Fuck you, Don." And she threw my key in the middle of the dark. I mean, she threw it real far. She just threw it out there. And I was like, did you just throw my master key to my car?" And then she started walking off. And I'm like, what the hell? And so I went outside. I see her walking down the street. And I'm thinking to myself, I gotta get me a flashlight. I gotta look for my master key. I went into my homie's house, and I was looking for the key everywhere in the middle of the night. And I couldn't find it. I was just looking down for her, and I seen her, and I was like, "Where'd she go?" And she jumped into the car. I was like, what the hell? She drove off with somebody else. And I was like, why the fuck she gonna do that to me? I ain't do nothing. But I was still looking for my key. And I was just like, my friend was like, "Man, come on in, man. We ain't gonna find that key in the middle of the dark like that. Let's look for it in the morning." So I went to sleep worried about my key, thinking about it. I didn't care about what she was thinking about. I was thinking about my key. So the next day I woke up in the morning. I was searching for about 2 hours, and I found my key. And I was, yes. And I had my key and I was happy. And I didn't really care. I was like, whatever. She do whatever she want. At least I found my key. But it was nice to, see her and hang out with her. And it's the last time I seen her. Never seen her no more than that. Never seen her again. Wow. But anyways, I had a good time with you guys. But what I want to say to you guys, I had a damn good time.